that we have a good funding in place for our programs, like the ones that we deliver now, but will be expected to, and we would want to expand those programs in the new center. So it's a $10 million campaign.
Good.
And we just launched that, actually. We just did the public launch of it in October, just a couple of months ago.
And it appears, as I follow on Facebook, but it appears it's going actually pretty good, like a pretty good launch. There's a number of like families, individuals, like Greg McFarland and his
Early
wife.
donors.
I saw that as some early donors, and so that's going really well, I think, from perception of me looking just sort of on Facebook, so, and following it. So.
Yeah, I mean, we went out very early on and talked to the community and people in the community who had experience in community-based fundraising. One of the first people we talked to actually was John Clark, Sr., John T. Clark. And, you know, he really loved the project. And I didn't know too much about the Clark family or John, but his wife, Wilma, was a singer. And he felt that he wanted to honor Wilma in a meaningful way. And that family done very well and established a charitable foundation. And so the J.T. Clark Family Foundation made one of the first major gifts. It was the first major gift that we announced, and they're donating $1 million to the project. And as a way of us recognizing that gift, we offered the opportunity to have one of the spaces. In fact, it's the small theater, the 300-seat theater that's in the venue, to be named in honor of Wilma. So that theater will be known as the Wilma Clark Theater. And we've had a number of those types of announcements through since we launched the campaign in October. But I'll tell you what's just as important is the number of people who are donating. And every gift, large and small, is important. Mm-hmm. What we really want is the community to participate in raising this building. Mm-hmm. And to date, we've had hundreds of people come forward with gifts, large and small. And we really want the community to feel like they had a part in this. And so, you know, we had someone today give a $25 gift. And quite frankly, I'm just as thankful for someone who gives $25 as someone who gives $1 million, because it means that those are two people who are interested in the project succeeding. Mm.
So you mentioned this is a regional. We've got quite a large region, a catchment area. At the local community level, municipal level, has there been an outreach of regional municipality support? Where does that all stand? Or is the city of Fredericton involved? Are there other partners at the municipal level?
Yeah, so it's primarily a city of Fredericton as far as municipalities go. The starting point for our project is where we are today. And where we are today is that we're a nonprofit organization, but we require annual operating grants in order for us to operate. And our annual operating grant all comes from one government, and it's the city of Fredericton.
Okay.
And so it was the city of Fredericton back in 2000 that they paid a purchase price for the Playhouse from its previous owners, and they set up this nonprofit organization, Fredericton Playhouse, Inc., to own and operate the Playhouse. And they set up a funding relationship, a regular, reliable funding relationship with that organization. And so we were working in partnership and in lockstep with the city of Fredericton from the very beginning on this project. I mean, in some ways, it is a municipal infrastructure project as much as it is a community infrastructure project. As far as other communities go, we do have a funding commitment as well from the town of Oromocto, but we've also kind of met the kind of intersection as our project was coming along. The local governance reform was happening as well. So suddenly there was a different way for local municipalities to collaborate on infrastructure projects. But our project was a little too far along for us to sort of back up and try to use the new local governance model. But I think that's the model, that local governance cooperation model through the regional service commissions is really what you'll see build the pool. Like the new aquatic center for Fredericton is going to be built using that that local governance cooperation model.
Good,
Yeah.
good, good. Expected opening date?
Yeah. What are your plans for opening year? What's your
Goal.
target? What are your
So on
targets?
paper,
What's your goal?
Yeah, on paper right now we're opening in the fall of 2026.
Okay.
So it's about 2 years of 2.5 years of construction, and so we're about 3 years away, a little less than 3 years away from the opening. Things can happen, as you know, in the construction business.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what we're targeting for right now. Yeah.
And you talked about this being much more than the existing Playhouse. You hinted towards the Wilma Clark Theatre being a smaller theatre within the larger centre. Give us an idea, then, if you don't mind or can, try to describe what different sections of the building there will be and how it will be
So
laid
when you
out.
come, when you come into the building on King Street, through the main doors on King Street, you'll come in. There will be the Welcome Center, the Sansom Family Welcome Center, actually, when you come in off King Street. And so it's like our box office, but we're reimagining the box office as less of a traditional box office. The same way you used to go to a bank and there used to be like a wicket, you'd have to speak through a little hole and put your cash and your slips through a little hole in a piece of glass. Well, that was when there was a lot of cash around, and there isn't a lot of cash around today. So now if you go into a bank, it looks like a reception desk of a hotel, and so that's what our new box office would look like. We're going to continue to have an art gallery, a community art gallery, like we have at the Playhouse, and so we have one of those at the new Performing Arts Center. That's the Gary and Diane Morrison Gallery. That gallery wraps around the big hall, which is the main hall, which is an 850-seat hall on 2 levels, so orchestra level and a balcony level. There's a big expansive lobby, the Walker family lobby, thanks to a generous donation from Lois Walker and her family. And the Lois Walker gallery is quite large. It's big enough, in fact, that we can do performances and activities in the lobby. And in that lobby, there's also a staircase which doubles as a little amphitheater, so we can do informal presentations and gatherings on this sort of indoor amphitheater that's in the lobby. You go up to the second level, there's another lobby, that's the David J. Wilson lobby, which serves the balcony level of the main hall, and that's also the main lobby and the main floor of the Wilma Clark Theatre, which is a 300-seat flexible theater, so it could be 300 seats in a traditional step rake, but when we can retract those seats and we could do shows in a cabaret format or standing room, and then there's a gallery up on the third level of that. So go up another level, there's a third level with a foyer, a meeting room, and so on, and then all of the backstage amenities that you can imagine. So the dressing rooms, the freight elevators, and so on. And then there's one other public room, which is a studio. So it's a sort of an open floor room that we can do performances, we could do lectures, education, classes, but it's also connected to the backstage, so it could be used for, we could do the pizza party there after the high school production at the last show. We could be the tuning room, the warm-up room for the dancers, whatever, and that's right on the main floor on the Regent Street side. So you can see that it's not just a theater, right? It's a center with theaters in it. And our, the vision that we have is that the performing arts and going to a performance is a way of connecting with your community. It's about being in the same room as the people, as your neighbors and your friends and people you work with. It's about feeling connected in your community. And we think that's really a valuable thing and something that everyone should be able to experience, and that it adds a lot to people's individual lives, but also contributes to community life as well. Being able to feel connected to the people that you live with in community.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's excellent, as you mentioned, the shared experience, but also to attract, when we attract people from outside of New Brunswick to move to New Brunswick, they're looking for those sort of things. What are the performing arts? What are the sports facilities? And the Performing Arts Center is going to be second to none, and I think it'll be great not only for the existing local community, but also to attract more residents and more performers as well. And it'll just be great for the community. I think it's a great investment.
It's part of what makes a community whole. You need all of these things. You need parks, you need rinks, you need roads, you need policing, you need arts and culture. It's part of a number of things that make up a community. You know, I have yet to meet a single person who said that a city is a great city because the taxes are low and the garbage is picked up on time. That doesn't make a great city. No one believes that makes a great city or a great community. So we make living here interesting, quite frankly. And, you know, people want to live in interesting places. And if it's not interesting, they leave. And so, yeah, you're right, Jack. It's the reason why people want to move here, build a business, invest in a community. It's also a reason people don't want to leave. It's a reason why a doctor may not want to leave this community, is because we're providing them a certain quality of life that they don't want to leave behind.
Yeah, I've when I was Minister of Local Government, had a lot of those discussions down in the St. John region, because there's actually legislation in St. John, or legislation that says in St. John you have your regional facilities commission. And inside of that legislation is like the TD Center, the Aquatic Center, the Imperial Theater, and there's a few others. But it says that the municipalities in the region all contribute to the operating grants, I guess you could call it, for anything, for a lack of, I almost upset the table. Anyway, for lack of a better term, the operating budgets, and that's a little sticky at times down there, but it is an attractor. Like it's how you retain people to come to the region, and that's what it's really all about. And it's a very difficult discussion to have with some folks, because they don't understand, why are we contributing to this? Well, a doctor or a psychiatrist or a lawyer or whatever, or anybody may come to town, and as a real estate agent, they're asking, you know, what are the amenities in my region? And they may move to New Maryland, or they may live in Ormocto if they know that there's a performing arts center close by. So the regional sharing thing is a tough one to sometimes to explain what's the benefits of it, but they're there, real benefits. I just have a question on the old or the current Playhouse. What will happen to that property after you're fully open? Will the city then own that, or is that too far out to know?
No. Well, there's a half a plan, and I'll tell you what the half a plan is. So when we're done with the Playhouse, and you know, our mandate doesn't change, but we're using a new instrument, new building, in order to achieve that mandate. When we don't need the Playhouse anymore, we'll give it back to the organization that gave it to us, which is the city of Fredericton. So we'll be turning it back over to the city. But they do have a bit of a plan for it. They will not be holding on to it, so they are going to be divesting of the property. And the proceeds of the sale of that property are built into the funding model of the new Performing Arts Center. So inside the $81.7 million, there's contributions from the city of Fredericton, a major contribution from the city of Fredericton, other levels of government as well. But the sale of the Playhouse property is in the mix, as well as the community fundraising. And they also expect to see the property redeveloped with something substantial. You know, it's a pretty important address there, the corner of St. John and Queen Street. And so I think everyone recognizes how important that civic address is, and would want to see a redevelopment of the property that's in keeping with its importance.
For sure.
Exciting.
Yeah,
well,
good explanation.
30 minutes have gone by fairly fast.
Maybe you could, maybe you can let us know, Tim, how people, if our viewers are watching and they want to get engaged, they want to contact the Playhouse, yourself, and discuss different ways that they can help out or contribute. How can they do that?
Great. I'm going to give you 2 websites. So the first one is for the Playhouse. So if you want to come to a Christmas show, there's a very few seats left. Or if you want to buy tickets for someone for Christmas, for a show, we have 51 shows on sale right now for the new year. So that website, or you want to buy a gift certificate, www.theplayhouse.ca is where you can do all of that. Find out what's going on and buy your tickets. So theplayhouse.ca. And to learn about the new Performing Arts Center, it's frederictonpac.ca. So Fredericton PAC for Performing Arts Center.ca, and you can learn all about the campaign. And one of the things that you could do is you can make a $1,000 donation and have a loved one's name inscribed on one of the seats in the new Performing Arts Center. It makes a great Christmas gift. You can pay it off in 5 years, $200 a year for a $1,000 donation, and get your name of you and or your kids or a loved one or a whole family on the seats in the new center.
They could probably sit in it in the opening ceremony. Official opening of the center or something, huh?
Well, that's a great
idea. Anyways. Okay, we'll work on that.
Great idea, John.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Thanks, Tim. That's been excellent. It's been a great update. A lot of people have been asking, talking about it. You're very active all of these 23 years. Your effort continues to be paid off, mobilizing people in the community around this vision. And for tonight, thank you very much for being on our show, being always open, and being a friend to the Carr brothers.
Yeah, thanks, Tim.
Great. Thanks for the invitation, and have a Merry Christmas.
You too as well. So with that, let's end the show and thank our viewers for watching on CHCO TV, our Facebook page, and on YouTube as well. So have a good night. I'm Jack.
And I'm Jeff.
And I'm Jody. Have a good night.
Merry Christmas.